It's not in the clothing she wears. But the true beauty of a woman lies in her values, her principles, her virtues. That's where she... Understand this. Your looks and your shape may capture, may get our attention. You may cause some head turns when you walk along the street. But guess what? Your looks and your shape will never capture the heart of a man. Never. It will only capture our attention, that's all. You become like eye candy. Woo! Good to look at. What captures the heart of a man is a woman's values, her principles, her virtuousness. That is what captures the heart of a man. You don't believe me? In Proverbs 31 verse 30 it says, charm may be deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who serves God or fears the Lord is the one who should be praised. Because this is a woman of value, this is a woman of principle, this is a woman who has virtue. This is the one who should be praised. Understand this, young people. See, the scripture helps us to appreciate. Beauty is fleeting. After a while, everything inside, that's why they call it facelift. It has to be lifted back up. You know what they call it? Breast lift, whatever they call it. Everything has to be lifted back up, so after a while, everything sides. Gravity hops this way. It sides. But know what don't side? But know what, you know what don't side? Your value, it don't side. Your principle, it don't side. It gets, it's like wine, it gets, the older it gets, the sweeter it gets. There's a book I read, love. My favorite author is one of my favorite authors is John D. MacDonald. He wrote a book called The Deep Blue Goodbye, written back in 1964. I wasn't even born yet. And he says in that particular book, a woman who don't guard and treasure herself can never be of any much value to someone else. She becomes like a pretty little convenience, like a guest house. A pretty little convenience. In other words, a booty call. When you don't guard and treasure yourself, you become you are not much value to no one else. No, this is what the scripture said. You lose your value. There's a rapper called Biggie Smalls. He's now dead, Notorious B.I.G. He had one of his rap songs. He had some phone messages he played. And there were these girls who called him, they were irate with him. Apparently he slept with them. And they're calling him now to say what happened. It wasn't good, that's why you can call me back. Now, if you need one know what Biggie Smalls before he died, this dude was more than 300 pounds, 6'2", dark, and he was no Prince Charming. But he was not a fool either. He knows, he took them out for dinner, wined them and dined them, and after he slept with them. And he knew the only way they slept with him was because of his money. Because of his money. He was no fool. So why should I call you back? When you run across my mind again, I'll call you. A pretty little convenience, like a guest house. At the age of, wrapping this over now, at the age of 13, I was in grade 9. And one day, I found myself in the back of the gym, and this particular girl, I somehow made the move on her, and it got to the point where I was feeling up. And she wasn't blocking my advances. And so now I'm feeling her breast. I said, boy, these feel good. She said, these always feel good. And she tells me, I told you and your friend the other day you could come and get some. I say, what? Yeah, I told you and your friend you could come and get some the other day. Man, the guy she was meeting, there was one guy named Marcus. And Marcus, good looking fella. But nonetheless, I didn't go looking for Marcus. After school, I made a beeline straight for her. And so I started to follow her. I'm falling home, and we got off Soldier Road, and she looks back and she realized I was falling, and she just gave me the biggest smile there ever was. And I knew I was straight. I was 13 years of age, and this was going to be my first time. I never thought it was just going to be this easy. And so anyway, we ended up on chewing shortcut in the bush, all closing off, and we use them to make a little bed on the ground and so forth, and we attempt to get down to business, but young, green, novice as I am, couldn't get in. You got to put no lubrication on a Vaseline grease and so forth. And so, we made an agreement that we will come back. She asked me, after we realized they couldn't get in, she asked me if I could come back the next day, next morning. I said, no. I'll go to school. I was already turned off. And you know, here's the thing. Even though nothing happened on that particular day, the mere fact that she was willing to give it up so easy, she once had looked attractive to me. When I saw her the next day in school, she came and gave me the biggest smile. And I saw the ugliest person in my entire life. What had once attracted me, and she had a nice waistline, nice everything. What had once attractive in my eyes, now looked awful. She looked like a gremlin. Why? She had no values, no principles. None whatsoever. None. She was no longer attractive in my eyes. And every time I see her, I turn the other way. Turn the other way. 4 days later, I'm walking to the school, after school, and she came running past me, laughing and giggling. And there were 4 other guys, hotly pursuing her. And I say to myself, boy, if you all fellas smart, you all will settle in not just for the field, but you could follow home and get some. Lost her value in my eyes. Understand that I'm going to quote this this what John D. MacDonald said again. A woman who don't guard and treasure herself is of very little much value to anyone else. She becomes like a pretty little convenience, like a guest house. A guest house. You could go into a hotel room that's nice and clean. But when you get to the bathroom, and even though the bathroom is clean, the guests left, they didn't remove those guest towels. For some reason, the bathroom feels dirty. Our room feels dirty. Shoot, when I get a bed twice in a matter of a short period of time, to say I bathe 8 o'clock and I get a bed again 12 o'clock and my towel isn't completely dry, I feel awful to me. It feels awful. I feel like I'm using someone else's towel. Could you imagine drying off with someone else's wet towel? So there you go. Now to recap, number 1, we talked about the best way that you can show honor and respect to your parents is through what? Obeying them. The best way you can honor your mother, your father and your mother, the best way you can show respect to them is simply through obeying them. Understand this, young persons. How do you know if you get a good friend? A good friend is one who does what? Who brings her to what? Yes. And so therefore a bad friend is one who does what? There you go. And my last point, young ladies. Is a woman beauty captured in the way she looks? Or in a shape? Where's her value captured? Her values, where's? Principles, and her virtues. Your values, your principles, and virtues will determine your friends. It will determine where you go. It will determine what you do for recreation. Your values, your principles, and your virtues. So there you go, young people. That was my 2 cents on today. Are there any questions? I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
Any questions?
I mean, she stretched off the now. Was it that now?
Hopefully it's all been clear and it's presented in such a way so that people can take away from it